Your RPM is a very important factor in terms of how much money you can make online with short form content. Your RPM is how much you earn per 1,000 views, and obviously we want to get this as high as possible, meaning that you're making as much as possible from those 1,000 views. Because unfortunately in my time, I've seen people post content with a very low RPM, and even though they're getting millions of views, they're really not earning as much as they should be. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how you can get the highest possible RPM and what factors determine this. This guide can be applied for TikTok and YouTube Shorts, and all the information I'm providing can be applied to any niche that you're doing. I'm going to be showing you example pages of what to do and what not to do. So make sure you watch the entire video all the way through, because there's not another video out there on the internet that goes into more detail than this will right now. Hey guys, now I'm going to go ahead and go through a couple examples and show you what will get you a high RPM and what will get you a low RPM. Then I'll be breaking down the actual determining factors as to why this is the case. So firstly, a very popular niche that I've been suggesting people to do recently are football style quizzes. As you can see, this page gets millions of views and all their content is over 1 minute long, and therefore they're monetizing off this content. However, a key factor that determines your RPM is the audience of this content. For example, if you're getting a lot of US and UK viewership, that means your RPM is going to be higher because these countries are more likely to buy off ads, and that's where TikTok monetizes. An audience of people from America and the UK are more valuable to TikTok, and therefore they're more willing to pay a higher RPM to incentivize you for this content. Because for example, if a lot of your content's getting pushed to third world countries, these people are unlikely to buy or purchase through TikTok's ads, and therefore they're not as valuable to TikTok. Now, the reason why I mentioned this about this football account is because football is extremely popular globally. So yes, with football you can get a good US and UK viewership, but you can also just as easily get a high third world country viewership. And you'll often find this when you go to check the analytics of the video and you look for the demographics and you see other, or countries like Philippines, or countries like Pakistan, and basically any country that you could consider as potentially third world. And by the way, please don't take this as a diss if you're from one of these countries. I love my Filipinos, I love my Pakistanis, but that is just the case that at the moment TikTok factually will give you a higher RPM if more of your audience come from these higher tier countries. The main ones being English speaking countries such as America, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia. These are the countries that you kind of want to target the most. On top of this, if you post German content or French content, you can also get a very high RPM because these countries are very developed as well. And if you're posting, for example, German content, the main country that speaks German is Germany itself, so you're typically going to get a very high German audience and a solid RPM too. But overall, if you're trying to access the highest RPMs, for example $1 and above consistently, then I would really recommend trying to target that American or British audience. So as you can see, this quiz page here is doing football content, and although the views are great, the RPM might not be as high as you want it. However, this is a great example of what you can do to this content, is you can go ahead and make it the exact same but apply it for a different sport. So for example, we know basketball is obviously quite worldwide popular, but it's more or less extremely popular in America, and therefore the viewership on this content is pretty much all going to be American. Or even something like American football with the NFL, this is again going to get extremely high US viewership, and therefore the RPM is going to be amazing. So the main thing I'm trying to get across here is try to adapt the content you're posting to appeal to more people from America or England, whether that's using terminology or certain accents in your videos to attract that kind of viewership, or using humor that only people from those countries understand, or focusing on topics that these countries specifically would enjoy. These are the things you can do to increase your RPM. Here's another example with recent AI style content I've really been encouraging too, and this just goes to show that you can apply this for any niche. This funny style of AI content is specifically set in Tesco, which is like a very well-known English supermarket, and therefore everyone that's watching this content is pretty much British, especially because the humor is very British too. Let me just play you a quick example.
A fresh one, you needy old bastard.
The service is so much better at other stores I shop at.
Well, sir, I think you've solved your own problem. Go shop there instead. Why?
It's very British comedy. It's very funny to English people. This video, as you can see, has gone extremely viral. If we have a look at how many views it actually got, it got about 5.2 million views, over 1 minute long, therefore it's monetized, and this will have a very high UK audience because it's very UK appealing, and therefore the RPM is going to be super high. We can literally see proof of this in the comments. This guy says too much swearing, and then this guy said welcome to the UK, and then this is all just UK sort of stereotypes. So this just shows that this video really appeals to the UK audience. Now coming back to the fact that the audience of your videos in terms of where they're from is very important for your RPM. Right here we have another example. We have an AI ASMR niche, and this has been extremely popular recently. And if I play you back this example, one thing we can notice is one, the content is going extremely viral. It's over 1 minute long, therefore they're monetizing. However, what we can also notice is there's no speaking, and because there's no speaking, this means that anyone from any country can find this entertaining. They don't have to be able to speak English, and therefore the audience on this content is probably not very good. This means that despite this page is getting millions and millions of views, the RPM is probably not very good, and therefore they're not making as much money as they should be. However, if we have a look at this page right here, this video got 8.6 million views 2 days ago. It's over 1 minute long, therefore it's getting monetized, and even though it's a similar concept with AI ASMR using Google VO3, which by the way I have a full tutorial on how to make content like this inside of my upgrade community, which is going to be linked in the description. But as we can see, this includes voice over. They're adding a voiceover that's ASMR style, adding to the effect, and secondly, it's in English language. Therefore, just the fact that it's in English is going to help it get pushed more to those English speaking countries, which is what's going to allow it to get a higher RPM. So I'm certain for a fact that this content right here on this page is getting a higher RPM because they've got more American, UK, Australian, Canadian audience, and that means that they're getting paid more per 1,000 views. We can see this is not a one-off either. This video right here got 10 million views again 5 days ago, so this niche is going insane. Now, another key factor that can determine your RPM is kind of the topics you're talking about. So for example, if you're talking about very unserious topics, it can sometimes lead to lower RPMs because not the best audience is watching it, it's a much younger audience. However, if you can focus and target an older audience that may be more serious to buy things from adverts, for example, that makes them more valuable to TikTok and therefore they can give you a higher RPM. I'm going to show you an example of an amazing niche at the moment, which for example, I do have a full tutorial on how to do inside of my Upgrade Discord. This is actually quite a difficult niche to edit. However, my tutorial breaks it down and makes it pretty easy. So if you do want to do this niche whilst it's very unsaturated, because there's only a couple pages doing it, then the link to that of course is in the description. But if we have a look at some of the topics explained in these videos, we can see they're kind of about relationships or situationships, and just more targeted towards younger people, not older people as much. So therefore, this is probably something that isn't going to get the best RPM. And there's a very similar thing on this page. As you can see, it's explaining hangovers or sleep paralysis, caffeine addictions, these kind of things. And we can see this page here is focused more on emotional feelings, which to be honest, will probably target more older people, which is great for the RPM. But what I'd really suggest someone doing right now, and I'm even considering doing it myself, is taking on this niche and focusing on teaching something about finance or something within the money space. Because typically across any social platform, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, whatever, if you're talking about finances and very important things that are specifically going to target older people, because the younger generation probably not going to be as interested in that, you can get access to very high guaranteed RPMs. So that's something that you could look to do. You could look for a niche that's doing really well and look to see how you can adapt to target a different audience where you're keeping the concept the same, because clearly this concept has a lot of potential with this page getting 12 million, 10 million, millions of views. And if you go to this one as well, they're getting millions of views on their content too, with it all being over 1 minute long, which means they're fully monetized. That's another great way in which you can go ahead and look to increase your RPM. Let me just show you a quick example of this niche so you can see why this would be targeted towards a younger audience.
Boyfriends. A boyfriend isn't just someone who holds your hand and opens jars. He's your accidental therapist, your personal heater, and your favorite headache. He's, I don't know what we're eating, but I'll pick you up in 10. He's text me when you get home. No, actually.
So as you can see, the topic in this video is specifically catered to younger people, but you could apply this exact same concept, exact same editing, and try and target people for something like finance or just any topic that older people would enjoy more and get a higher RPM. A quick little extra hack you can do in order to improve the US audience on your videos is you can add a location to your content. So as you can see, this page right here has added New York as the location. And what TikTok will do is they will initially push it out more to people in New York, and therefore you can get a higher US audience if they enjoy that content. And of course, through a higher American content, you're going to get a higher RPM. One thing I'd also like to say, guys, is RPM doesn't matter as much as it used to, especially with TikTok, because they've now introduced their additional rewards. And as you can see from someone inside of my Discord right here, Calvin, in 3 days, he made $9,000, but this was mainly because of the additional rewards that TikTok have just added. So the standard reward is what is calculated by your RPM, which is the topic we spoke about in today's video. But if you can get this much from additional rewards, the standard RPM or standard reward actually doesn't matter too much, because the additional rewards are just so insane with TikTok at the moment. And like, this isn't just a one-off thing. As you can see, another one of his accounts from Calvin right here did 5k in additional rewards and then like 1k from standard. So again, this is such a beneficial feature right now that not many people know how to take advantage of. But lucky for you, I did make a full video explaining exactly how you can get access to this. So I'm going to leave that YouTube video linked in the description too for you guys. If you guys want to join the best community when it comes to monetizing online through short form content, whether that's TikTok Creator Rewards program, TikTok Shop, YouTube Shorts, anything like that, we have it all covered inside of my free Discord community, which I'm going to leave in description. On top of that, if you want to get some feedback from myself and one-to-one guidance from my 8 coaches that will teach you everything you need to know about social media, then you can also join the premium section of that Discord, which is also linked in the description. With this, you'll get access to my 8 coaches that will give you one-to-one feedback, the best course content in the game that's fully created by me, and you'll also get access to weekly group calls, which are also hosted by me every single week. So again, if you're interested in joining the upgrade section of my Discord, that link is also going to be in the description too. It's only $50 a month. And to be quite honest, pretty much every single person that joins and puts in the effort makes that money back ridiculously fast. All the results you've been seeing on screen are people part of my community. Anyways, guys, all my social medias and my vlog channel are also going to be linked in the description if you want to check those out. Thank you so much for watching. If you can go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to the channel with post notifications on, that'd be highly appreciated. That being said, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.